Trump's tariff bomb just backfired. Trump just slapped a 15% tariff on European goods and declared victory. But here's the problem. That's not a deal. That's a massive tax on the American people. Let's talk about it and dive in. Hi guys, welcome back to The Baseline. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to talk about tariffs, Trump's tariff bomb. So let me ask you guys something. If your boss raised prices on everything you need and told you it was winning and then blamed the EU for your grocery bill, would you still show up for work? Because that's just what happened in America. Donald Trump just slapped a 15% tariff on European imports and called it, and I quote, the biggest deal ever made. But here's the truth to all this. It's not a trade deal. It's a tax hike in a cheap suit. And the people getting slapped the hardest, it's you and it's me. It's us. It's not Europe. Not the elites, you and I. So here's my question to you guys. Do you believe Trump actually understands how tariffs work? Or is this just political theater to cover up the Epstein fallout? Drop your comments in the section below. I read all of them and I want to hear from the reality-based people that are in this, right? So this is big, guys. A $750 billion energy deal, $600 billion defense ramp up, and a 15% tariff that could spike inflation. Now, it's easy to miss how that can affect your life. So we're going to try to break that down without all the jargon. Okay, so it's new, right? This isn't your 2018 tariff war. This is Trump using foreign policy as a smoke bomb to bury domestic scandal. It looks like it, at least, right? And it's safe, meaning you can fact check every word. So this isn't hype, it's math. And it's also about power. So here's how we're going to try to unpack today. Is this so-called trade deal a Trojan horse for economic sabotage? Why did the EU willingly take a bad deal? And what are they planning behind the scenes? And the big one is this sudden tariff blitz. Is it just a smokescreen for Trump's growing Epstein problem? And we're not just asking questions, we're connecting dots. But first, I want you guys to do this. I want you to imagine being told you're saving America, right? Saving America while quietly being taxed like you're the villain in your own story. You're paying more, you're getting less, but the person handing you the actual bill is saying, hey, you're welcome. It's not policy. It's performance art wrapped in nationalism and dipped in some economic illiteracy. But here's where things get particularly crazy, right? A little bit wild. Number one is this, right? Trump's tariff theater, like who's really actually paying? Because Trump calls it a deal, but when you raise a 15% tax on imports, guess who gets hit? It's you and I, it's us, right? The importer pays the tariff, but they pass it on to the store, and the store in turn passes it on to you. And if you're thinking, but won't that hurt Europe more? Not quite. EU exporters might lose some sales, sure, but American businesses, they're eating the costs. General Motors alone just took a $1.3 billion hit. And that's not policy, that's self-sabotage. And the kicker to all this is Trump thinks it's free money. He literally brags that tariffs are bringing in trillions. And that's like robbing your own bank account and high-fiving yourself for the cash. It's weird, right? But it brings us to our second point, why the EU played along and what they really want now. Because if we flip this chessboard, why would the EU take this deal? Why not just walk away? And the answer is this, they're buying time. They know Trump can't be trusted long-term, so they give him his 15%, not because it's good, but because it's better than 30%. So it's a kind of a damage control, right? And in return, $600 billion in U.S. defense contracts, they get secured. $700 and $50 billion in American oil and LNG, they're locked in. Access to U.S. weapons for Ukraine, now flowing. They're making strategic plays under economic fire. So while Trump's tweeting about winning, the EU is realigning behind his back. India's cutting deals, Canada's talking to Australia, the UK is scrambling post-Brexit. So this isn't a trade war, it's a global divorce, which brings us to our third point, right? Which is inflation, interest rates, and a slap into the face. So let's talk about inflation. In 2024, inflation was dropping to 3%, on its way down, right? The Fed was ready to cut interest rates, finally give the middle class a break. But then Trump came in with his economic sledgehammer. So now inflation spikes, interest rate cuts are on hold, and your credit interest, your mortgage refinance, still sky high. All because one man thinks tariffs are trophies. So this isn't policy. This is an extortion racket pretending to be patriotism. Now let's talk about the Epstein distraction and what Trump really running from. Let's talk about the timing, because this deal was announced the same week Trump got hammered with Epstein fallout from his own supporters. Now, Wall Street Journal drops a birthday card bombshell, right? Trump allegedly sent Epstein a crude doodle, and his response was, sue for $10 billion. So you can't make this stuff up. This isn't about trade. It's about changing the headline. Because here's the reality. His base wants answers. Maxwell might testify. In August, the slowest news month in politics, is about to get really loud. So he needed a win. So he manufactured one. And now we're all going to pay for it in this 15% tax. So here's where we land right now, right? Trump just taxed his own voters and called it liberation. The EU gave him a fake win to buy time while secretly rerouting power. And the biggest scandal is the one that he's trying to bury. And it still hasn't gone away. Now, you can sell economic illusions for a minute, but you can't fool inflation. And you sure the heck can't fool history. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching The Baseline. I really appreciate you. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment in the section below. Do I have this wrong? Do I have this right? Am I way off? Let me know. Or is this the Democratic Party really crumbling from the inside? I read everything. I value your take. And if you've got another take, I'm excited to hear it. So let's talk about it. Thanks again for watching, guys. And cheers, everybody.